Views and opinions expressed in this production are those of the individual and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Shooters Nation or our sponsors. Information provided on this show is not a replacement for legal counsel or professional training. Listener and viewer discretion is advised. This is especially true on live shows.
Welcome to the Shooters Nation podcast, the show created for you, the armed citizen. Join our hosts and subject matter experts as we talk about guns and gear, practical training and knowledge, Second Amendment issues, and the firearms culture. Be sure to join us after the show at shootersnation.com and become part of the Shooters Nation.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Shooters Nation podcast. I'm your host, David Yancey, and this is a very short special edition of the show. But first, I want to remind you all that you can connect with us after the show at shootersnation.com. Be sure to sign up for the Mail Blast mailing list while you're there so that we can keep you informed of what's happening. You can also follow us on social media. On Instagram, we are at Shooters Nation Radio, and you'll find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ShootersNation. If you like what you're hearing on the show, you can help support our efforts for as little as $2 a month. You can become a Patreon patron at patreon.com/ShootersNation. Our patrons often find out first who our upcoming guests will be and submit questions for us to ask them on the show. And last, a big way that you can help support the show and show us some love is absolutely free. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, etc., and share us with your friends. Be sure to leave us a positive review on iTunes or whichever outlet you use, because each positive review helps someone else discover the show and become part of the Shooters Nation just like you. So, with all of that out of the way, what's so special about this episode? Well, as I record this, we are on the cusp of the 2019 NRA Annual Meeting, or NRAAM for short, being held this year in Indianapolis, Indiana. My family and I are in the final stages of packing and all the other fun stuff that goes into making a 5-hour drive with 2 small kids. And Mark's busy getting his stuff squared away, no pun intended, or maybe there was a pun there, and preparing to travel to Indy from New Hampshire as well. But before we all head out, there are a few things that I really wanted to put out here for you guys. So first, if you are an exhibitor at NRAAM this year, I want to talk to you. I'll be on the show floor Friday and Saturday and would love the chance to meet you and see what you're doing for the shooting community so that I can share that with our listeners. I most likely won't be doing any on-site interview recordings for the podcast, but we can definitely duck into the media room and we can schedule some time together and have you on this show as a guest in the weeks ahead and share what you're doing and your products and your services with our listeners again. So send me an email at david@shootersnation.com and I'll get back in touch with you. Second, listeners, I want to meet up with you guys at NRAAM also. Again, I plan to be there both Friday and Saturday. Both days, I'll be wearing either a Shooters Nation hat or a Shooters Nation polo shirt. And if you can find me on the show floor, please, 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 please stop by and say hi. I'd love to shake your hand and chat with you about the podcast. I want to know about your experience as a listener. I want to hear from you what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. I'd love to hear your ideas for the show in the future. Again, this is all about you. If you listened to the last episode, you know that we do this for you guys. So please stop by, say hi, shake my hand. And let's chat for a little bit. I love getting to know you guys. I love meeting our listeners. That's probably my most favorite part of this show, hands down, period, is getting to hear from you guys and know that, you know, we're doing something positive for you and hear your story. I love it. So please do that. Come up to me, say hi, shake my hand, all that fun stuff. Third, if you're not sure that you really want to go to NRAAM this year, but live within traveling distance, do it. Do not talk yourself out of this. Listen, NRAAM is a lot of fun. It's more fun for the consumer than SHOT Show, and it's a heck of a lot less chaotic. The pace at NRAAM is slower. The crowd isn't as large, and the venue itself is smaller too, which means you actually stand a pretty good chance of being able to see everything you want to see. At SHOT, that's almost impossible. So listen, also, the people, in my experience, the people are friendlier at NRAAM also. No joke. It's not that the exhibitors and guests at SHOT are rude or hateful. It's, again, the pace of the show that allows everyone to slow down and just enjoy themselves. even the crowd of attendees is generally very polite and having a good time. That was my firsthand experience at NRAM in Nashville a few years ago. My experience was folks are a lot more polite. I don't know. Maybe that goes back to Robert Heinlein's quote about an armed society being a polite society. But, the thing is, I think, again, the Second Amendment community, from what I have seen, salt of the earth people, everybody's a lot more polite, a lot more conscientious of each other, and just generally nice. So if you're kind of dreading, oh, it's going to be a big, hectic, crazy, chaotic crowd of people that aren't going to be friendly, no, that hasn't been my experience at all. Don't let that stop you. You definitely want to be there. I'll be the first to admit, there are a lot of things that I could easily do with my time other than go to NRAM this weekend, but I know I would regret it, and I would hate myself for it later if I skip it. So I'm going. And I'll be honest with you, I don't like crowds at all. It's not that I don't like people. It's just I don't like big crowds of people pushing on me. Big crowds of people tend to do dumb things when things go badly, right? Except for the fact that this is a very large collection of pro-Second Amendment, patriotic people that love the country and generally are a lot nicer to each other. So my opinion, I'm looking forward to being around that because this is the kind of crowd that I can get down with. This is going to be fun. I need my space, but this is going to totally be worth it. Fourth, maybe part of the reason that you're on the fence about going to this is because you don't fully agree with the NRA's politics or policies. Good. That's even more reason for you to show up. Look, I've said this before on the show. We need to stop outsourcing our Second Amendment activism. I believe that we need to be individually more involved in defending the cause at the voting booths and in the offices of our elected representatives. That's us. Individually, we need to go do those things. And we need to rely less on the NRA and other big organizations to do that for us. But we absolutely need the NRA and other Pro-2A groups in this fight alongside us. We need the power of their size and the economies of scale to go with it. The thing is, we need a different and better version of the NRA that is more inclusive to everyone and more representative of everyone. And the only way that we're going to get that is if we change it. And changing it, that starts with showing up and being heard. So to borrow one of their slogans, I am the NRA. I'm a life member. I vote. But it's up to me to be the change that I want to see out of the NRA. So I'm going to show up and I'm going to be a positive presence in the shooting community. And I hope that you'll do that too. So that's it. Like I said, very short episode, just a quick special message for all of us before we head up to NRAM. And I'm really looking forward to meeting all of you there. I'm looking forward to meeting up with our past Shooters Nation guests, shaking some hands, giving some hugs. And I'm really looking forward to meeting future guests and getting to know you all as well. So that's it. I'll see you all in Indianapolis. Have safe travels. And remember, be safe out there.
The preceding segment was a production of the Shooters Nation podcast. Visit us online at shootersnation.com.